Well, here we have, ran across this one today. It is a couple of days old, but trans and non-binary people trapped in war-torn Ukraine. I'm Grid 7. Now, I'm on YouTube, Rumble, like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let's get into this article right here and we'll talk about it. The rule forcing men aged 18 to 60 to stay and fight has left many trans women and non-binary people stranded in the country. The main obstacle to Varela Kozlov escaping from Ukraine are her passport ID and ID card, which identify the 24-year-old transgender woman as a man, meaning she must stay and fight the invading Russian forces. Kozlova left her hometown of Kyiv, sorry, I'm not very good with these names over here, on Sunday and took a shared ride to the western city of Lviv, hoping to cross into Poland. But she is too scared to attempt the journey. I haven't tried as I'm afraid they won't allow me to flee because of the martial law, she said, referring to the rule that men aged 18 and 60 must register for conscription and not leave the country. But if I stay, there will be no hope for a normal life. I do not see my future here or in Kyiv. I have little hope, she told the Thomson Reuters Foundation in text messages from a local shelter. Women and children make up most of the 1 million who have left Ukraine since Russia invaded last week, according to UN Refugee Agency. The former Soviet Republic legalized gay sex in 1991, the year it declared independence, and LGBTQ plus people say they have more freedom than in Russia, where prosecution has increased since the introduction of a ban on gay propaganda in 2013. There's no data on how many of Ukraine's 41 million people are LGBTQ, and the community is often targeted by conservative and far-right groups. Trans people say the process to change their gender on official documents is long and complicated. Well, it shouldn't be easy, I'm sorry. It shouldn't be as easy as, flipping a burger or something. It just shouldn't be. In Germany, the newly formed Alliance for Queer Emergency Aid for Ukraine has made contact with about 40 trans women and non-binary people who identify neither as male or female in need of evacuation and shared their names with the government. Unfortunately, the current situation in Ukraine does not allow for evacuations organized by the federal government, a German foreign ministry spokesperson say. Nightmare. In the southern city of Odessa, Ukraine's most important port, soldiers and civilians are building defenses and preparing for an attack. But Nick, an 18-year-old non-binary resident whose passport lists him as male, is in hiding. Military forces can force me into the combat zone with a gun in my hand, Nick said. This is wrong. All civilians want to run away from nightmares from war, not only biological females. I want to run anywhere from this nightmare and start my life from zero. The groups across Europe are working to help gay, bisexual, and trans people flee, find shelter and asylum if they wish. Terry Rivers, founder of Queer Spaces Network in the Czech Republic, said they are providing help to refugees arriving in the Slavic border, and the LGBTQ groups are doing the same in Poland, Hungary, and Romania. Robert, a 31-year-old trans man from Iraq who has been living in the Ukraine for 13 years, traveled by train for 3 days from the eastern city of Kharkiv to Slovakia and on to Prague. I feel like I'm in a dream, said Robert, who was given a place to stay in the Czech Republic by Queer Spaces Network. Robert, who asked not to give his full name, said the Slavic Border Patrol police mocked him, laughed at him, and shouted at him for being trans and twice threw away his identity documents. I was scared. I didn't know what to do. But after a few hours, they let me in. With combat raging across Ukraine for a second week, anxieties are mounting. For Judith, a 24-year-old trans woman hiding with her girlfriend about 70 kilometers outside of Kyiv, the assault on on it means she has little hope of getting her cross-sex hormones medication when it runs out in 2 weeks. I'm totally scared, and I don't know how much longer I can stay where I am. I have to go. I have nowhere to go, she said. This entire thing, this is reality slapping a bunch of people in the face with their fantasies. That's what this is. I mean, here you have Ukraine forcing men aged 18 to 60 to stay and fight. And you have these people who apparently Russia is not that welcoming to LGBT groups, and yet these people are not standing up to fight. In fact, they're allowing biological men to do it. They're too afraid to stand up and fight. I mean, this one down here really got me right here. Where it says, in Ukraine, in Odessa, soldiers and civilians are building defenses and preparing for an attack. But this trans person thinks he's too important to even help. I mean, he won't even stand up for his country, his society, or anything. If he's not going to stand up right here, And this person down here, this 24-year-old, no, not getting her hormone. No, it's a guy. Sorry, you're a guy. Stand up and fight. Or the only people who are allowed to fight for your freedom are biological men. Now, we hear all this stuff about women and men are equal, all this type of stuff. We've got a perfect opportunity right here in Ukraine for women to show up, for trans to show up, and what are they doing? They're being sexist and running because they have because their basis is not in reality. Their little world, their tiny little world that they've reinforced with their own people, and now it's crumbling, and they have no idea how to defend it. They don't want to defend it, and they're running away. Now, that's my thing. What do you think about the group? Or should they stand and fight? Should they not? Let me know. Like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you next video.